Okay, so I think it's now time to start because those of people who haven't joined in the last one, I mean, they don't have the link, so they cannot join anyways. There's no point waiting for them. Yep. Yeah. Okay, I will just start the teaching. Okay. All right. So we will start again. Sangye Junan, Zage Junam La, Chanju Pardo, Dane, Gabzoji, Dagi, Jinrangi, Sunangi, Dela Benja, Sangye, Jobara, Jo, Sangye Judan, Zage Junam La, Chanju Pardo, Dane, Gabzoji, Dagi, Jinrangi, Sunangi, Dela Benja, Sangye, Jobara, Jo, Sangye Judan, Zage Junam La, Chanju Pardo, Dani Gezo Ji, Dani Jezo Gebe, Zenangi, Jala Benji San, Jubara Sho. Okay, Mandala. Sa Jimbe, Jo Jime. Dharma Okay, back. So today's topic is follow up of the last week's topic, which is to practice of generosity. And within generosity, last week we covered up the ordinary generosity, ordinary giving or generosity, the ordinary, extraordinary, the the material and the ordinary and extraordinary. That's what we cover. So today we are going to cover what is called the giving or generosity of the Dharma. This is what we're going to cover, giving Dharma. Yeah. So last week we talked about the three types of the material giving, which is the ordinary giving, great giving, and extraordinary giving. So just to summarize those things, so last week and the week before that, we talk about these things. So I will just do a quick summarization. So ordinary giving is giving anything, very ordinary things like just a few bucks of money or just a few drop of water or anything, any very simple things that is ordinary giving. Can be from very ordinary to something that is valuable. Then when you give something that is quite valuable, something that is quite difficult for you to part away with, that is called extraordinary. That is called a great giving. Then when you give something such as your own life, your own flesh, your own limbs and your own parts of your body, etc., to someone, that's called extraordinary giving. So these three things, ordinary giving, great giving, and the extraordinary giving, sums up three types of material giving. So now today's teaching will be the giving of Dharma. So giving of materialistic things, where we covered for the last 2 weeks. And this week's teaching is giving the Dharma. So if you have the book in English, it's on page number 236. And the title of the chapter is called Giving. And so I will read a few lines from this particular paragraph, 236 in the English page. Yeah, so here, okay, this means giving Dharma. This means leading others to spiritual practice by giving empowerments, explaining the Dharma, transmitting text, and so forth. However, to work for the good of others when one's own selfish desires have not yet disappeared would be nothing but just a show. Atisha's disciples asked him when they might be able to teach others, work for others' benefit, or perform the transference of consciousness for those who had just died. And his reply was this.
Rinpoche, let me read in our Vietnamese book.
Okay. So it's called Giving Dharma. The name of the chapter is Giving Dharma.
Yeah.
So the response by Atisha to the request made by his disciple, as when is the right time for them to teach, when is the right time for them to do the transference of the consciousness when someone dies, etc., etc. So his response was like this. You may guide others once you have realized emptiness and developed clairvoyance. You may work for their benefit once You may work for their benefit once, for your own benefit, there is no more left. Okay, so this is something here. You may work for their benefits once your own benefits are no more there. You may perform the transference of the dead once you have entered the path of seeing. So this is the response by Atisha. Atisha also said that this degenerate time is no time for boasting, show off. It is a time for arousing determination. This is no time for holding high positions. It is a time for keeping to a humble place. Humble place means like a hermitage, like sitting in solitude in a cave meditation. Like this is no time for having servants and disciples. It's a time for living in solitude. This is no time for taking care of disciples. There's a time for taking care of yourself. This is no time for analyzing meaning. Analyzing the words. It is a time for reflecting on the meaning. This is no time for being out, and it is a time for staying in one place. These are the additional responses made by Isha on the questions. So here, the words that I just recited, it says there is no time for taking care of disciples. This is time for taking care of yourself. This is no time for analyzing the words. It's time for reflecting on the meaning, and etc. etc. So here, when the Adisha said that this is no time for taking care of the disciples, what he is saying is he's not talking about neglecting the disciples badly. So it is talking about uh, before you teach something to someone, before let's say someone asks you to teach on bodhicitta, first you have to learn about bodhicitta and practice bodhicitta yourself. If you do not practice bodhicitta, if you don't learn about bodhicitta and don't practice bodhicitta yourself, then you cannot teach bodhicitta to someone else. If you profess, if you say that I'm teaching bodhicitta to someone, but you are not practicing bodhicitta yourself, then you are actually lying to yourself, lying to others, basically cheating people. So what Atisha is saying here is that it is important to practice, put into practice what you are going to preach, what you are going to teach to others. So before you teach others, first you need to put it into practice yourself. He also said this is no time for analyzing the words, but it is to reflect on the meaning. So what he is saying here is because Dharma practice, the Dharma teachings, the teachings which the Dharma, which the teaching of the Buddha is not about merely uh, analyzing the word itself. For example, like a poetry, right? When you listen to a poetry, you sort of go with the flow, just immerse yourself in the words like that. But with the Dharma teachings, you must put into practice what you have been taught. You just don't go into the very minute details of what each and this and that word says. You just cannot go like that. If you keep doing that, then this is it will be a waste of time. But basically, in Dharma practice, when you have been taught something, whatever you have been taught, you must put that thing into practice. By analyzing the words itself, you are not going to get anywhere. That is the importance. That is the importance of giving a Dharma practice, Dharma teaching. That is what Adisha was responding to. So there's a follow-up from Geshe Dumpa. Geshe Dumpa his full name is Geshe Dumpa, is one of the main disciples of Adisha. So Geshe Dumpa also had an important observation when the so-called the three brothers, they are also great teachers. So the three brothers asked Geshe Dumpa whether it was important to practice in solitude or to help others through the Dharma. And Geshe Dumpa replied, "It is useless for a beginner with either experience nor realizations to try to help others with the Dharma. No blessings can be obtained from him, just as nothing can be poured out of an empty vessel. His instructions are insipid and without substance, like beer brewed without pressing the grains." So again, the Geshe Dumpa is also uh, um, reaffirming what Atisha said, that if you are going to teach something, at least you must be practicing that thing. Yeah. Okay. So in this regard, there was a story that we used to hear a lot when we were kids. So this is the story about someone by the name of Mahatma Gandhi. Uh, so he was the father of the father of the nation, like of the India. So he was the one who brought independence for India from the British. And he was regarded as a great practitioner. He was a follower. He was a very spiritual man, and was highly educated in the modern education, and also a very spiritual person. Anyway. So, and he was a very practical person too. And then people asked him to, come and give teachings or give advices, give his views on things here and there. Of course, he was the one who brought who got independence for India. British. So he was very famous. He was a very influential man. And so someone asked him to give an advice. Okay, so I will share a story about him. So the story was that Mahatma Gandhi was invited by different organizations and different groups and different conferences to give talks. He would always come right away, give lengthy speeches on this and that topic, very difficult, complicated international relation and political things, and very, very, important subjects. He without hesitation, he would go come and give teachings. Then one time, there was a friend of Mahatma Gandhi, so he asked Mahatma Gandhi to come to his home and to advise his son to not to eat too many sweets, Indian like sugary things, sweet things. So the kid loves a lot of sweet things, like chocolate, that kind of thing. So he actually asked Mahatma Gandhi to give a talk. I mean, teach the child not to take too many sweets. And then Mahatma Gandhi said, "Okay, wait, we'll come back in 1 week." And then Mahatma Gandhi's friend was really surprised, because whenever he was asked to give talk on different, very difficult topics, without hesitation, he would come. And then, but maybe then he thought like, okay, he was busy and that's why he couldn't come. And then 1 week later, Mahatma Gandhi came and gave a very impactful advice to the child about not to eat sweets. And then, so out of curiosity, the friend asked Mahatma Gandhi, "Why didn't you come right away to give advice to my child? You have given advice on so many international topics and difficult topics, but when it comes to giving a talk on not to eat sweets, you're hesitating and you come back only 1 week later. Why did you do that?" And Mahatma Gandhi's reply was that the thing was, I love candies, I love sweets a lot. So at that time, I'm not prepared, I'm not ready to give a teaching or give advice to your child about not to take sweets, because I myself love sweets a lot, not in a position to give that teaching. And, so for 1 week, I 1 week I meditated, I contemplated on that. I think about the um the the harmful effects of taking too many sweets, and then basically I stopped eating sweets after 1 week. And when I stop eating the sweets, and I'm in a capable position to teach your children how to eat sweets. So that's why I came here to give this talk. So there was this is a story that our teachers tell us when we were young, and so this is in line with Adisha's teaching and Geshe Dhamma's teaching, that you don't teach something unless either you have mastered that skill, or you are practicing that skill set or that thing yourself, that ethic self. If you're not practicing it, if you're not into it, then you should not tell people to do this or not. So even though all types of generosity, all types of giving is important, here, instead of encouraging us to engage in the generosity of giving the Dharma, Isha, Geshe Dumba, and many other teachers are actually sort of restraining us from going all in to give teachings. Reason is very clear. One should not rush. We should not be rushing to give teachings. One should not teach for the sake of teaching. The giving teaching, if one should not aspire to become a teacher. One should aspire to become a practitioner. You should aspire. You should try to become a good practitioner. And once you become a good practitioner, and once you practice well, and once you have mastered your practices, once you have done your practices well, then you would have the answers. You would have the solutions for the answers for people, whoever has that kind of questions, whoever is nagging with different problems. You will have the solutions by itself. If you just aspire to become a teacher for the sake of, if you teach just for the sake of becoming a teacher, if your goal is to become a teacher, so here teacher is more in the sense of a guru, master. Okay? So if you practice or if you learn, you study for the sake of just becoming a guru, someone sitting on a high throne and giving teaching to so many people, etc., etc., then your motivation is wrong. Then as your aspiration is wrong, and then whatever you teach will not be beneficial to people. You may be very eloquent. You may speak very nice, sound very smart, and like that. It will not be helpful, not be beneficial to many people in the long run. We see that a lot nowadays in online. We see a lot of people who have a lot of information to share and provide, and then they sound very smart, and because of that, they have a lot of blocking. They have a lot of followers, and you will also see that people who follow these kind of say, okay, let's call them internet gurus. So when you follow those teachers, the people who are following those internet gurus, and they don't, in the beginning, it seems to be very, very, very good, very effective. But in the long run, people tend to, come back to whatever problem they're facing. They just come back to ground zero. So therefore, it's important. There is no need to rush to become a teacher. Yeah, that's what Ethan is telling us. So this is what Atisha was saying. But in general, so because giving Dharma means to give teaching. So giving teaching is not something that you should be taking lightly. And then also within the Dharma system or within the monastic system, the monks, we were actually like restrained by our vows not to give teachings to those who do not. So basically, monks should not be just go about the town, just go about and give teaching without anybody asking. So, or converting people into Buddhism, like proselytizing, talking the benefit of Buddha's teaching, making people listen to Dharma if they are not interested, converting people into Buddhism. All these things are actually restricted by the Buddhist rules. Of course, not there's no such thing as Buddhist rules, but for the monks, we have monastic rules. So monastic rules actually forbid us from giving Dharma talks to those who are not, basically we are not supposed to, cannot do spiritual or religious or Buddhist soliciting. And that's the reason why the beginning of any Dharma teaching, you have to make the mandala offering. So make the mandala offering and then ask the guru to teach. So within the monastic rules, it says very clearly not to share to those who do not ask when it comes to teaching. So if someone do not ask you to teach, you should not be teaching them. You should be only teaching to those who ask, right? So for example, I am I'm giving this teaching, because you have asked me to give this teaching. So that's why I'm sharing. And anybody who has joined later, they also want to learn something. They also want to hear something. So that's why they are joining. So that's why I can the sharing. So if I and a lot of you were already my students, so there is already some sort of an agreement that you want to from me. So it's okay for me to give teaching, even if you don't ask me to teach, because you're already my students. But if someone is a complete stranger, I will never give any teaching. So there's um yeah. So yeah, this is important. So basically, the second the second giving is the giving of Dharma. Is all about uh, this is about becoming a guru and giving a Dharma teaching like that. So this is something that one should not worry about too much. Uh, if you practice well, then you become qualified to be a teacher. If you don't practice well, then you are not qualified to teach anyways. So the giving Dharma is something that you should not think about much. Don't bother about this that too much. That's what Misha was saying. There was this story, not like a story. It's like a real thing. So this happened during it happened in Tibet during the teacher of His Holiness Dalai Lama. So what happened was His Holiness was a young child at that time. One of his Lama friends. Um, so he was also a Uche Atulku, right, a reincarnated Lama. And that Lama, the Dalai Lama's teacher is giving a very high level tantric empowerment, and it is for the very highly advanced practitioner, and it's a very, very, very rare practice as well. And and as it was customary in Tibet, uh, that young that young Tulku who was Lama friend of His Holiness Dalai Lama. So that Lama now already passed away. So he actually went to attend the teaching of the Dalai Lama's teacher, King Rinpoche. So he attended the teaching, and then the Dalai Lama's teacher said, "Why did you come to this teaching?" Right? Uh, and that young boy, who was a Dharma friend of Dalai Lama, so he said, "I came to this teaching because it's a very rare teaching. And because I'm a Rinpoche, I'm a reincarnate Lama, and in the future, I need to give teaching. I need to give empowerment to many people. So in order to give the Dharma teaching in the future, I need to receive this, and that's why I come here to listen to your teaching." And Solin's teacher, Animal's teacher, he got very angry and he kicked him out by saying, "I am giving this teaching so that the people in the audience, so they could practice. I'm giving this teaching because you could practice, not because you can become a teacher, a guru, and then give this teaching to so many people and become influential and famous, this and that. That is not the purpose of me giving this teaching. So because your purpose, your aspiration to attend this teaching is because you want to become famous and have lots of students and influential in the future, you do not qualify as my student, so you just get out, right?" He got kicked out. So that was during the Dalai Lama's childhood time. So it happened like that. So yeah. So the aspiration for listening to a Dharma teaching, any Dharma teaching you should go, you should go for the sake of practicing, not for the sake of becoming a master and having many students and many followers and becoming famous, powerful, impactful, this and that. If that is your goal, then your very essence of Dharma teaching or listening to a Dharma teaching has been missed out. You have missed the point. Okay. So this is the giving Dharma giving Dharma part, giving Dharma aspect, giving material things, giving Dharma, and then giving action from fear. So this is the second one, giving Dharma. That's about it. think if you have some questions, I will open up for Q&A because I think the time is quite, yeah.
I have no question. I think we don't
Okay.
have any
Okay.
question. Yeah.
Okay, we have no questions. Okay, then we can actually go to the next giving. So there are three types of giving, right? Materialistic giving, giving material things, giving Dharma, and the last one. Okay, so there one question pop up. Okay, so let me just read the question. If two of us who are still very bad Buddhists and still have infinite things to learn, discuss with each other venerable teachings in order to okay. This is a way to remember, then I just considered giving them. Okay, yeah. So that's a good question, actually. I was about to cover that thing, and then yeah. So the question was basically not like becoming a guru to someone, each other, but like sharing important information regarding Dharma. Is that considered like giving Dharma or not? So that was the main question. Can you share important Dharma-related questions with each other, Dharma-related information with each other? Is that considered like giving or not? Yes. So the answer is yes. When you share important Dharma-related question with each other, that is considered giving of Dharma, giving the Dharma. And giving the Dharma not necessarily that mean that you are a teacher and you become a guru and then someone become your student, you are higher, someone lower, like that. And that is not the case. Uh, so when you share important information with each other, that is very important. Then it is called, that is the reason that that is referred to as Dharma brothers and sisters. So Dharma siblings, right? When you help each other to understand the Dharma better, that is very important. That is something that is very much encouraged in the Dharma. So moreover, it's very much encouraged in the Buddha's teaching, okay? To discuss. You learn from your teacher, you listen to your teacher, and then you discuss with your fellow Dharma friends. You discuss it with your teacher. Always ask question to the teacher is very much encouraged. If the teacher is like, and then there's this thing. Okay, so normally when we talk about teacher, we tend to think about the teacher as a very high position and the student as a very low position. And this is something, of course, when you look at it from a Vajrayana perspective, there is some sort of there is an appearance of something like that, that the guru is much higher and the student is much lower, like that. But in general, Buddha Dharma teachings, the student and the teacher are seen as a very close, there has to be a very close relationship. The term used for teacher in the Sutrayana, in the non-tantric teachings, a teacher is called not, the teacher is not referred to as a master. The teacher is not referred to as a guru. The guru is a term used for teachers in the Vajrayana teachings. In the Sutrayana teachings, in the non-Vajrayana, non-tantric teachings, the guru is referred to as a spiritual friend. For someone who actually makes you grow in a spiritually, that is what a teacher should be. That is your master is. So we tend to use the term master so that for example, the English term master is not a very good proper word, because master, the opposite of master is a slave or a servant. So the master is the powerful one and the slave or the servant is the non-powerful one. And you have a master is dominating the student, master is dominating the slave, the servant. So it's not a very proper word, but then we tend to use that a lot, especially in Asian cultures. We tend to look at it that way because that we have been used to think that way. There is the tendency to respect our teachers. So respect is one thing, and domination is another thing. So we tend to mix up the two things: respect and domination, respect and total servitude. Servitude, like so. Respect means you acknowledge qualities of the teacher, you appreciate acknowledge the qualities and appreciate teaching and the kindness shared by the teacher to you. It does not necessarily mean that you just go down and just give everything up for that person. Of course, there is an aspect to that, but that is totally different thing, and it's especially in the tantric practices, that's a totally different thing, and from that is a totally different thing. We can talk about this later, but in general, Buddha Dharma, Buddha never said, "I'm the master," like as in one who controls everything, and the student should follow everything that he says without asking any question. Not like that. Of course, we talk about following the teacher. We follow our teacher. That is important, but we do not follow the teacher with blind faith. We ask the teacher if we feel uncomfortable with whatever the teacher is telling us to do. We always ask. We always see the reason why the teacher is making us do this and that. And if we feel uncomfortable, then we either hesitate. If you ask the question and if you still feel uncomfortable following the teacher, then you can just give it a space, give it a break. You don't necessarily have to criticize the teacher and abandon the teacher right away. You can always give it a time, give it a break, analyze, and then take it slowly. So totally giving in to the teacher and saying whatever you say is right, whatever the teacher says is right, that is also one extreme. Okay. And then when you don't like something the teacher says and you say, oh, the teacher is wrong, so bad, so negative, and giving it up all the way up, that is also an extreme. So there are two extremes. One should be in the center, not to give everything in or not to give everything up, but always stay in the middle. Use your intelligence, use your wisdom, and follow like that. And generally speaking, that's how you do that. So the last one, which is giving the giving protection from fear. Just covered that briefly. So that is like giving, basically lifting, getting rid of a fear that someone has. For example, someone is feeling lonely, you give them company. If someone is feeling neglected, you give them comfort by speaking to them, giving attention to them, etc., etc. So by doing so, you get rid of, you liberate them from the whatever fear that they have been suffering through. And another thing that we do a lot is doing the life release, like releasing the animals, releasing the fish, releasing birds, this kind of thing. So when we do that, we take away their fear, whatever fear of course, fish or birds, when they were captured, they were really afraid. They were taken away from their natural habitats and they're suffering. So when you release them, they were given protection from that fear, right? Fear from isolation, fear from abandonment, etc. And they're also giving shelter to abandoned animals, all these kind of things. So these are considered giving protection from fear. So these three constitutes the giving of materialistic things, giving of Dharma, and then giving of the protection from fear. These three constitutes the three main practice of generosity, which is the first of the 6 perfections, generosity. So I will conclude here. And then the Buddha himself said, okay, I think I covered that last week, that the first I will give the teaching. So first I will engage in the generosity of giving materialistic things. And by giving materialistic things, we make the karmic connection. So when I give you something or when you give me something, we make the karmic connection. So by doing so, when I give something materialistic, when I give you a materialistic thing, we make a karmic connection. And because of this karmic connection, our karmic connection becomes more subtle. and then may I accumulate the merit to share the wisdom of the Dharma with you. So there was this particular prayer by Buddha himself, which he says, so in Tibetan, it's like, so what it actually says is, may I be able to partake in material generosity so that I will accumulate the merit to share the wisdom for the generosity of the dharmic wisdom with you. So like that. So and then once you partake in the giving of the Dharma teachings, then you make your karmic connection becomes more effective. I'm sorry, more impactful, and then you could actually then engage in giving the protection from different fears as well. So, so one thing is built on the other. So first you engage in the material giving, and then you engage in the Dharma giving, and then you engage in giving protection from fear. Like that. Yeah. So there's one last question. If one meets a miserable person with an issue which one can overcome in the past with a bit of experience in Dharma, should one wait until that said person asks to share that little experience to encourage him to find the okay, so basically if someone is in pain and you have the means to sort of get rid of that pain through the teachings of Dharma, should you wait until that person actually asks you to help him or her, or you can just do it without their asking? So it's a so from a Dharma point of view, I just said that one should not teach unless one is asked, right? This only applies to monks. If you are not a monk, this does not apply. So you can teach anytime. The monk are restricted. We are restricted. Okay, the monks are restricted from teaching if you are not asked, because a monk is an influential person. So a monk can influence people. So a monk is respected by people. So if a monk just goes out like a salesperson, just knocks everybody's door and then keeps asking, okay, I want to give Dharma like that. This can be it can have a negative impact. So that's why the monks are restricted from giving teachings if they are not asked to do. But if you are a lay person, if you are not a monk, then there is no restriction whether you do teach or you don't teach. It's up to you. Now, that being said, it's also important that whether the person who is suffering wants your assistance or help or not. Sometimes they don't want to be helped because, and then just because you have, okay, someone is in pain and you also have a similar pain in the past, that does not mean that you can solve that person's problem. Just because you and the person has gone through the same pain or history does not mean you can solve that person's problem. Because even though the problem or the issue that you two have faced may be similar, but the background and a lot of other uh, factors, other conditions are different for you and the other person, and especially the mental conditions or the mental capacity of you and the other person is totally different, and so you do not know for sure that the person is, whatever worked for you will work for that person as well. But it's always important. It's always useful to use your common sense, your intelligence, and see if the person, other person who is in much pain, would like to. Sorry, the person is open for help from your side. If the person is open, then you should help. If the person is not open and you are not confident that your experiences can help and your wisdom can help that person, then you should not jump in. Yeah. Okay, let's stop here for now. I think that's yeah. And I will update about next week's teaching later. Then, okay, so we will go to the dedication now. Yep. Yeah, well. Nyurdo da lama sangye jojo. Do jiga mande ma gege sala bara jo jo zemjo dembo anje ye panama ye juro. Next. Jo zemjo rembo je ma ye panama ge juro. Ye wa nyamba meba ye fondo o next. Me, Nama Indo Yu Nama Chanchu Lobsang Shuje Genzo Chok Nenye Joje Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you,
you so much.
Rinpoche.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
Thank
you.
you,
Rinpoche.
Everyone.
Rinpoche.
Bye,
Thank you,
Rinpoche.
Rinpoche.